Hello everybody, this is SnipingIsFun, and the video I bring to all of you today is a recollection type of video. Something different that I don't normally do. You don't normally see me do this type of thing, but a recollection type of video for a certain anime movie that I watched, and certain things that will likely stick with me for the rest of my life. Certain scenes from certain parts of this movie that are I'm going to remember for years and years to come. And if you click on this video, it's in the title already. There's no surprise what the video is and what I'm going to be talking about today in this video. It's going to be Wolf Children from Mamoru Hosoda. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. I'm sorry if I'm not. The same creator of such works as Summer Wars and The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. I'm going to go through in 5 distinct parts from this movie that I feel like just how well they were done, just a certain tone and mood that these scenes went through, and what happened in them, and what was going on in them, and why maybe they were going on to them. These certain movies, like scenes from this movie, Wolf Children, that will leave an everlasting effect probably on my life, and probably will for you too. And just to forewarn all you people out there, this video is going to contain some major spoilers. So if you've yet to see Wolf Children, which I recommend, highly recommend, I would probably go and watch it first before you watch this video from me. And I'm going to go into, it's not going to be a top 5, it's going to just be 5 specific moments, what they're about, and why I think that these scenes are going to actually stick with me, why they're so impactful, why this movie in general, because of such of these scenes, is impactful, and what I'm going to take away from them in the future. So let's start with number 1. The number 1 thing I see myself remembering from this movie so much will basically be the relationship at the beginning between the Wolfman and Hana, from when they meet to when unfortunately he accidentally dies. She finds him dead after she of course has 2 children with him, Yuki and Ami. Just the relationship, like, there's one thing in this movie that, like, when you go into this movie, when I first went into this movie, I thought this part of the movie might have went by a little bit faster than it actually did, and maybe the death wouldn't really have meant anything. But they build this relationship up with him so much, with Hana. The relationship between them, they build up so much. Like, she magically sees him at the college, and she keeps talking to him, wanting to see him. Like, there's something about him that maybe she wants to get to know more of. And then as she starts reflecting and talking to him, he talks more back to her, or there's maybe more emotional facial meetings between them, to the point where maybe they're not talking to each other, which the beginning part of the movie, when they first really meet each other, isn't really that much talking. A lot of it really is them just interacting with each other, maybe by what they're doing or the expression on their face. And there's even though it kind of time jumps a lot, they build this relationship up for about a good 15-20 minutes between them, and just how much they actually really truly love each other. And the fact that the Wolfman, this man that she fell in love with, which she does, at this point she doesn't know yet, let's say, he confides enough into her, he knows her enough that he wants to tell her his secret. He lets her know, and she's fine with it, and then they get into a relationship and have 2 kids. Like, there's just this loving relationship between them where, like, there's a connection between them, and it actually builds up from, like, the joys of them actually meeting each other and being together for like a year or 2, like having children, how he moved in with her, how they were together, the fun they shared, to ultimately, shortly after Ami was born, him being a wolf, of course, going out and getting food for his children, for his pups. He unfortunately dies in an accident, and especially the scene where she's crying over his dead body in the middle of the street, where it's like raining, with her kids strapped to her stomach, her chest, and her back. There's just something about that scene that really is kind of emotionally sad, and like they build, and it's not just sad for Hana, it's actually kind of sad for the viewer as well, because they don't just let this relationship just go and quickly get it over with. They build it up so you actually get used to the relationship, and then they bring on, his death. And there's just something about that scene where it just shows you, like, what can happen in life. Like, unfortunately, because of some freak accident or something, someone you know could die, and then you have to totally change the way your life is in order to actually, move on. And unfortunately for Hana, she was left as a single mother of 2 kids, not just normal human kids, but wolf children. So she had to basically learn on her own how to take care of these kids that were both human and wolf, and had to study up on actually bringing them. So she never really learned much from him, from her lover, from the wolf man. And it just kind of shows you, like, how life can sometimes be very shocking, very, mysterious and random. And sometimes things just don't go the way we expect them to. And that's basically the number one thing I'm going to remember from this movie. The entire scene, the entire part of the movie, when the wolf man was involved, from when Hana met him to when he died. The second part of the movie I feel will stick with me for a while. The imagery from it would basically be the growing up scenes, when Hana's basically taking care of Ami and Yuki. A lot of those scenes. One in particular would be when they were in the snow. Essentially, like how Ami and Yuki, like, I think this is around the time they first were introduced to snow, basically, and they basically were running through the forest happily as wolves, and Hana was keeping up with them. And the scene where they were all having fun sliding down the mountain, the snowy mountain, and the relationship and that, it kind of shows, like, this loving mother relationship where kids having fun, trying to teach them things. And it's probably one of the more happy moments of the movie. So it's actually, unlike my first one where it's basically emotionally sad, happy and sad at the same time, this is basically mainly a happy scene. The whole snow related scene, just how happy they are together. And unfortunately, this moment does have another sad moment, when Ami fell into the water and Yuki had to save him, and, like, literally Hana was scared for her life that she almost lost one of her kids there. And that was the moment really when Ami kind of, I would say, grew up a bit, like, kind of became less scared. But the moment, this whole snow scene moment from this movie basically had happy moments, and where it shows you a family getting together and having fun and being together, like, in the snowy scene, making the best of the environment they're in, like basically they have this secret, them being wolf children, they can't let anyone know, but they try to make the best of it without letting people know. They still have fun, and they still, go and live normal lives. And she's trying to teach them and have moments of, like, in their lives that they can look back on it. She was doing her best to take care of them, and this was a moment where they were running through the forest, in the snowy forest, and then they were sliding down the snowy mountain together, and how they were laughing and and being together as a family. You can see it basically shows you the happy moments a family can have. And then, just like I said about how the father died in my first reason, the second kind of shows you, like, the accidents that happen too, like how Yuki. Why I say Yuki again? Sorry about that. How Ami fell into the water, trying to when he was a wolf one, trying to use his wolf instincts to catch, like, I think it was a bird or something, and he slipped in because of his scarf, and then Yuki had to save him, and then, like, Hana was literally in tears after, like, he was rescued, because basically she almost lost him, essentially she almost could have lost one of her kids by a freak little accident, kind of like how she lost her, I wouldn't say husband because they never got married, but her lover, how he randomly died. She almost could have lost one of her kids almost in the same freak type accident. So this whole scene goes to show you the happy moments of a family's life and the sad moments of a family's life. Like from freak accidents to happy moments, like, you know, being together, having fun, laughing, enjoying yourself. So basically that scene really spoke to me because it's just how it makes you feel happy, and then it kind of puts you back onto the sad track of like being worried, getting in, you know, be on the edge of your seat, hoping for the best from a family that is, you know, they're already closed off enough as it is because they can't really let anyone know their secret. Well, they're not closed. They're closed off in terms of letting people know their secret. They're not closed off from. I think this is when they first moved in. They were starting to get to know all their neighbors and stuff. So they weren't really closed off from other people, but they were closed off from kind of revealing themselves to people and them having fun with what they could. And that's basically what I'm going to remember from that scene. The third part of the movie that I think had a big impact on me, and I'm going to remember a lot, will basically be later on in the movie when both Ami and Yuki are older, and after Yuki starts getting more into school, after the incident where she scratched Suhei at school, and she started getting friends and started being more wanting to be human, and after Ami basically leaves school, he didn't fit in, and then starts learning from the fox spirit, the fox sage, protector of the forest, and learning from the wolf at that exhibit place and stuff, how he started to get more in touch with his wolf side. In other words, the fight between Ami and Yuki at the house, that specific scene, because Ami starts wanting to, like, he starts talking to Yuki, like saying, you should learn from this fox like I am, and then basically Yuki sticks up for the fact that she wants to be human, wants to be human and be with her friends, and because she fits in there, and she doesn't want. I think that's when she scratched Suhei. I think that's the one scene that really switched it. And this is the weird part about here. She wants to be more human, but when she was younger, she kind of wanted to be more of a wolf. Ami, on the other hand, wants to be more wolf now, but because of that, before he learned all this stuff, because he basically wanted to be more human when he was younger, but after learning more about the wolf stuff, he started wanting to be more wolf. And Ami was kind of surprised by this, saying like, oh no, you're a wolf, you should learn this, you're not human, when she was basically calling it on she was being human. And she's like, okay, you need to go to school, you're human too. No, I'm not. And it's like there's like this conflict between them, because like Ami is more pro-wolf, wanting to be more wolf, when Yuki wants to be more human. And even though, okay, you're a human, no, you're a wolf, stuff like that. Essentially, they're, really they're both, but they're kind of picking sides that are kind of opposite of what they originally were in the beginning of the movie. And there's a conflict there, and like you could kind of see, because of all the wildlife and stuff that Ami was learning from the fox and everything, he was a bit more aggressive and he wanted to fight. He flips the table over, and they start with an argument, and they both turn to wolves and start fighting. And at first you can kind of see that it's more of Yuki's defending herself and Ami's fighting. They're fighting each other, but then you can kind of see just how aggressive Ami was getting, because he was learning more in the wild. He was actually taking in his wolf instincts, while Yuki was more wasn't accustomed to all that, all the ongoing into being a wolf. And you can kind of see when he was starting to go aggressively after her and attacking her, how she was trying to run away, and she was luckily able to get into the bath house, the bathroom, the bathtub, the room, and get away. And you can kind of see the scene where when Ami goes back to being human, how his eyes are all red. You can just see he was becoming more wolf in terms of the instincts of being, hunting and being aggressive and everything, after learning all this stuff from the fox. And it's kind of sad, because what makes me think about this scene before is there's never really any conflict between Ami and Yuki at all early on in the movie. They're both a brother and sister. they have a brother-sister relationship. Obviously, sometimes, like, Yuki was kind of saying, oh, you're being too weak, you're being too this, stuff like that, but not anymore in a joking manner. Like how he used to be so scared, and then now he's sticking up for himself. He has his wolf instincts, and he's going about it to being like a wolf, and he was being aggressive against her, and this was the first fight she had, and I think she was scared for her life that her younger brother, who she never had any conflicts with, just went out and snapped on her, and and if he went any further, he probably could have killed her. And she was literally heartbroken in the bathhouse room, literally crying in tears. You can see scratches all on her back and everything. It's like, oh my gosh. And like the look on his face and everything when you see Hana go back to being human, it's like, it kind of shows me that there's like, even people that if you have some random, distinct, somehow difference with them, sometimes you can get into a conflict even if they're family. And it's just kind of leaves an everlasting image on you, because it comes almost from out of nowhere, basically from their lifestyle changes. He wanting to be more of a wolf for years not wanting to be a wolf because he saw like the wolves, the bad guys in the books, and being scared about a secret, everything like that. While Yuki was more playful as the wolf, but after scratching Suhei, wanting to be more human after she fit in more there, but then Ami wasn't fitting in as human, so he wanted to go and learn more about the wolf side of himself. He became wolf. So it's more of a conflict and difference of opinions between a brother and a sister, and that scene will stick with me. That one especially will stick with me. The fourth scene from the movie, the fourth part of the movie that I do see myself remembering quite a bit, sticking with me for a while, will be the conversation between Suhei and Yuki at the school when they're reined in and they're only the only two students left in the school. The conversation they have at the window. Basically, like it's led up to that point that Suhei's mother was gonna get remarried, and you see his mother like earlier on in the movie when he gets scratched by Yuki, and then his mother kind of goes off on Hana about, okay, if my son goes deaf in that ear, I'm going to sue you, blah, blah, blah. Like, it shows that, makes it look like she's really caring for her son. But then you kind of hear from Suhei at this part of the scene, and this is coming from weren't they in like 6th grade at this time? Yeah, like 6th grade, from a young kid that's technically not even in middle school, not even in junior high yet. Like, he's like, okay, and it's assumed that he doesn't know that his mother's being remarried, but really he does. He's like, my mom's going to be remarried, and she's having a kid with this guy, and once this kid's born, my mom's going to totally forget about me. And coming from a kid about that age, that's really sad, because essentially you're seeing it as like, okay, there's like this young kid who is still growing up, but essentially he's going to be, at least according to his side of the story, we don't get to really hear from the mother about this side at all, but from his side of the story, once his baby, his younger brother, sister, they have a baby, gets born, by his mother and his father-in-law, essentially they're going to care so much for this kid, they're not going to care for him. And he talks about, oh, I'm going to go off and be a lone wolf, which is interesting choice of words there, and I'm going to go off and be like a fighter or a wrestler or a boxer or something, and he's going to go off and live on his own. And then Yuki's like, you're too weak for that. He's like, I'm going to train. But it's like, the moment that's really sad about this is it's like a younger kid that essentially is going to be shafted, from his family, put on the outside, while his younger brother, sister is going to get everything, essentially, from his point of view. Like, he's going to be forgotten about. And it's not just like you're hearing this from like an older person, like in the 20s or so. You're hearing this from like a 6th grade kid. What is he, like 12? 11? See, that's kind of, in my opinion, that's kind of sad. And then this is where, once he's confiding this secret about his life and what he wants to do to Yuki, Yuki, in recollection, turns into her wolf form and tells her secret to Suhei. And then he goes off saying that he knew ever since that day that when she scratched his ear, that it was her. He goes off and lies about saying it was a wolf. Well, not a lie in the terms that he's basically saying it is a wolf, but not telling them that she turned into a wolf. like, but he kind of knew it, and he's going to keep her secret now. And this one kind of shows, it shows a big friendship between two people that they share so much, because they're kind of like almost, outcasts in a sense, where like he's going to eventually be forgotten by his family, and she's technically an outcast by being a wolf child, wolf person, and she can't really tell anyone her secret. She tells him her secret, he tells her his secret, and they become even better friends, because leading up to that point they still are pretty good friends. They, like, when he first gets into the school, there's like this, like, she's scared or something, because I think it's because he's like the first boy she really ever met besides her brother, and like, I don't know, like, him cornering her in her animal instincts unfortunately scratched him, and then they become good friends and they reveal their secrets to each other. So it kind of shows that, and that it kind of shows you how a relationship can grow, but it also it shows me like some of the hardships a kid can go through, not just, like Yuki having to protect her wolf secret, but also Suke's relationship with his mother and his stepfather, her new husband, and what's potentially he sees happening when this new kid is born. And it's just like, it's coming from a younger kid, so it's kind of like, a scary thought. Like, this is already going through his mind at this age. And that's basically one scene. That's the fourth scene I'm going to remember from this movie. And now for the fifth scene in this movie that I'm going to certainly take away from it and remember for years to come, and it's going to certainly impact me quite a bit. And remembering it is basically the ending scene between Hana and Ami when he goes off into the woods to be the new wolf spirit. The ending of the movie, and not even just that, but the ending scene with when Yuki decides to go off into a dorm room, go off to junior high and live in a dorm room, and go off and live on her own, move away from her mother. Like, it's a double scene here. Basically, at the beginning of the movie, you kind of see, like, Hana says, okay, do you want to be a wolf or you want to be a people? You want to be human or you want to be a wolf? She gives her kids the choice to pick, and then you kind of see when, like, I don't know if necessarily maybe it's the way that she said it or something, but she kind of goes back on her words kind of during the movie, at the end of the movie, because you can kind of tell that, that he wants to be, that Ami wants to be the wolf spirit. He learned from this fox. He was the wolf protector of the forest, the sage. He wants to protect the forest. He wants to protect the animals. So he wants to leave the house and leave home and do that. And you can kind of see where, like Hana's like, no, you're not doing that. You may be an adult wolf at 10 years old, but you're not adult, human. I don't want. And she kind of says she's kind of putting her foot down, like she does not want him to leave. Where it kind of goes back on her words, like, oh, you want to be a wolf or human? Like, he's choosing to be a wolf, and then she's not entirely accepting it. And then he kind of leaves the home when it becomes raining and the forest and all that stuff's going on. So she goes after him, and then she kind of gets faints and gets knocked out or something like that. And then she kind of recollects, like, she has like this memory. She has like this scene, like this moment where she, in her memory, she has like this meeting with her late lover, the wolfman, the husband, and she's like, I have to find Ami. Like, he's lost or something. And then the wolfman's basically like, no, he's found his way. He found what he wants to do, what he wants to be in his life. He's safe. He'll be okay. He's learned from you. You've raised our kids well. He will be fine. And then you kind of see that Ami carries her out of the forest, and he leaves, and he turns to a wolf. And then it kind of gets emotional because she's trying to tell him to come back. Please don't go. What have I taught you? What have I learned? And you kind of see this look on, like, as a wolf, because he's now at this point, Ami's an adult wolf. He turns to adult wolf because at his age, like, what is he, like 12, 11? At his age, there's basically, like, he's still kid as human, but he's an adult wolf. But you see this look on his face where he's all shocked and like at this response from her like that, because he really didn't learn a whole lot from her. He was raised by her, and she kind of helped him with some of his wolf ways, but he never really learned much from her. He learned more from the fox, from the wolf, from his own instincts and stuff. He never really learned a whole lot from her. I think he runs off. He's shocked because it's like he doesn't really want to leave. I think in a sense he doesn't really want to leave her. He wants her. Either he wants to be with her, or he wants Ami. He wants Yuki to stay with her, someone to be with her. And like I think before he regrets wanting to leave, he runs off to the top of the mountain. Does the howl as a wolf, and she's as that's going on, she's like, "Please come back, come back!" Like she doesn't want him to leave, but then she starts remembering that memory, that recollection when she had that little meeting in her mind with her late lover, with their father, with the wolf man, and then she kind of sees this is where Ami wants to be. He has found his way in life, and she's like, "Okay." She's yelling up to him, "You found your way, you found what you wanted to be, and gotta be happy and whatnot." And he walks off into the forest, and then you kind of see that shortly thereafter when Yuki's going off to junior high, she goes and leaves home and goes off to a dorm room. So she leaves the house too. She leaves for school. Ami leaves to become the protector of the forest and the animals. So it kind of shows you how how throughout those years, like the kids were getting further and further away from her growing up, and how she had to let them leave the nest, even though if it was essentially earlier than maybe she would have hoped. Ami wanted to go off and become a wolf in the forest, and Yuki wanted to go off to school. So Yuki wanted to be human, Ami wanted to be a wolf. They both moved from home, and she had to kind of accept that because it's her children. And then she remembers that her husband, I keep saying husband, but they never got married. But her, the wolf man, her lover, her mate, she goes off and she remembers his speech, like, "Okay, you raised your children well. They both grew up fine. Ami's found his way." And I think he references Yuki in a way too. I forgot now. But basically it's like, okay, like, so it's kind of sad because it kind of, in its own way, revolves around how parents in life have to let their children go off on their own sometimes. Like at some point in their life, leave the nest, and even though she had to do it sooner than she probably would have hoped, because she probably would have hoped a few more years, like when they got into high school and college and whatnot, moving out, or maybe that's how it normally is in Japan. I'm not sure if kids leave early. Maybe it depends on the person. I'm not entirely sure of that myself. But she would probably have hoped, okay, maybe they would be around a little bit longer. But then, because of the turn of events, she basically, I wouldn't say loses, but both her kids move out of the house and she's on her own. So now, but basically she knows she's taught him well, because the wolf man basically tells her in her little recollection, her memory, her dream, in her little meeting when she basically was fainted in the forest, "You've done well. You raised our kids well, and they're going to be fine." So she assumes they're going to be fine. And it shows you when Yuki goes off to junior high, how Hana's happy that her kid's going off, and she's fine with it. And then she's fine when Ami leaves to become the wolf. And it even shows when she stays in that house, she has her little, thing for her late husband, her late lover, the wolf man. And she basically talks to her little sanctuary, and she talks to him, and she hears a wolf off in the distance, which would have been Ami, and she knows he is fine. And then she knows when she let Yuki off, when Yuki went out to school, that she would be fine. So she knows both her kids are fine. So it kind of shows you like a parent having to let both of her kids go in two totally separate ways, and having to kind of move on, like have her kids leave the nest. And that's the fifth scene that I'm certainly going to remember from this movie. And that's basically what I'm going to remember, those 5 things. And that's it, folks. My 5 scenes from the movie Wolf Children by Mamoru Hosoda that I will certainly remember for years to come. 1, the relationship between the Wolfman and Hana, from when they meet to when he died. 2, most of the childhood memories that Hana had with both Yuki and Ami, specifically the snowy mountain scene when they were having fun, and also when Ami fell into the river and Yuki had to save him. 3, the Ami and Yuki fight at the house. 4, the Sui and Yuki speech at the school when they both revealed their secrets to each other. And 5, the whole letting the children go. Ami off into the forest, Yuki over into a dorm room, moving out on her own, going to school. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And like I said before, if you have yet to watch Wolf Children, I would strongly recommend it. I bought this movie last week from Best Buy, watched it back on Sunday, and the movie got to me. I mean, in multiple ways. It was funny, it was sad, it was happy, it was everything. And when the movie finally was over, you were happy because you seen like these people live their life. And you got to technically grow up with them throughout those 12 to 13 years the movie happened. But it was kind of sad because like the ending wasn't entirely happy. Like she moved on, it was happy, but you kind of see like how the turn of events, like Hana had to move on and let her kids do what they wanted to do. And it was also sad just to see the movie end because it was built up. It was built up fairly well, so well that it was kind of sad to see it finally end. And that's it. And that's my video. And I strongly recommend you guys watch it, even though I'm hoping you watch it before you see this video. Because if you watch this video before you watch the actual movie, I spoiled a lot of it for you. So I'm hoping you please go and watch it before you see something like this. And I know this video is very different from my how I normally do videos on here. I don't really ever get this, get emotional, get like into life lessons and whatnot. And I hardly ever talk about anime on here. But I'm hoping to do more of these in the future for other movies. And like I said, I loved Wolf Children a lot. Certainly one of my favorite anime movies I think I ever have seen. I just need now to go. I just need to now go see Girl Who Leapt Through Time because I have seen Summer Wars and I like that movie just as much as this. And I'm looking forward to the next Hosoda movie as well. Like there's just something about his movies. Like like people say he is the next Hayao Miyazaki, and like these movies he makes can be so like emotional with family and friends and everything. And maybe one day I'll do more videos like this, and like I said, I'm looking forward to that. I hope you guys like this video. My name is SnipingIsFun. Peace. Please subscribe if you want to. Have a nice day.